Welcome all to the 2020 Veterans Day program. Today is a day to remember those who have and continue to risk their lives for their families and their fellow citizens. The past year has introduced situations that America does not completely know how to face. On this November Day, America is still able to dedicate one day of the year, whether it be in person or online, to sincerely thank those who have fought for the country that we call home. The history of Veterans Day originates in 1918 after World War I. Although the war ended 7 months earlier, November 11, 1918, was considered the end of the war to end all wars. Exactly 1 year later, President Wilson proclaimed November 11th as the first commemoration of Armistice Day. Almost 4 decades later, President Eisenhower issued the first Veterans Day proclamation, which made it more clear that a proper and widespread observance of the country's anniversary recognizes all veterans and all organizations related to veterans. Veterans Day is still observed each November 11th, no matter the day of the week in which it falls on. This is an opportunity for Americans to preserve the historical significance of the day in the nation's past, along with focusing on the importance of the overall purpose of honoring veterans.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Soldier from the Wars Returning by A.E. Hausman. Soldier from the wars returning, spoiler of the taken town. Here is ease that asks not earning, turn you in and sit you down. Peace has come and wars are over, welcome you and welcome all, while the charger crops the clover and his bridle hangs in a stall. Now no more of winter's biting, filth entrenched from fall and spring, summers full of sweat and fighting, for the Kesser or the king. Rest you charger, rest up bridle, kings and Kessers, keep your prey. Soldier, sit you down and idle, at the inn of night for aye.
Our guest speaker today is Sergeant First Class U.S. Army retired Chad Smethurst. Chad and his family live outside Eastman, Wisconsin, and is the owner of NCS Gunsmithing in Prairie du Chien. Chad joined the U.S. Army in 1994. He served in places like Guam, Hawaii, Japan, Singapore, and in Iraq during Iraqi freedom. He retired from the Army in 2014. We thank him for his service and for speaking to us today.
Students and staff, hello. My name is Sergeant First Class Chad Smethurst, United States Army retired. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I think Veterans Day is a good day for remembering, obviously. It's an important day for me because of my service and because of the level of respect that I have for all the servicemen and women who came before me, during me, and after my service. So used a lot of speeches that I've written, used some speeches that were pre-written for different events. But today I want to use a speech that was given by President Reagan back in the mid-'80s, and I think it is just as pertinent today as it was then, and will always be as long as there is a Veterans Day. So without further ado, I will read his speech. We celebrate Veterans Day on the anniversary of the armistice that ended World War I. The armistice that began on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The timing of this holiday is quite deliberate in terms of historical fact, but somehow it always seems quite fitting to me that this day come deep in autumn, when the colors are muted and the days seem to invite contemplation. Perhaps we can start by remembering this, that all of those who died for us and our country were, in one way or another, victim of a peace process that failed. Victims of a decision to forget certain things. To forget, for instance, that the surest way to keep a peace going is to stay strong. Weakness, after all, is a temptation. It tempts the pugnacious to assert themselves, but strength is a declaration that cannot be misunderstood. Strength is the condition that declares action have consequences. Strength is a prudent warning to the belligerent that aggression need not go unanswered. Peace fails when we forget what we stand for. It fails when we forget that our republic is based on firm principles, principles that have real meaning, that with them we are the last best hope of man on earth. Without them, we are little more than the crust of the continent. Peace also fails when we forget to bring to the bargaining table God's first intellectual gift to man, common sense. Common sense gives us a realistic knowledge of human beings and how they think, how they live in the world, what motivates them. Common sense tells us that man has magic in him, but also clay. Common sense can tell the difference between right and wrong. Common sense forgives error, but always recognizes to be error first. We endanger the peace and confuse all issues when we obscure the truth, when we refuse to name and act for what it is, when we refuse to see the obvious and seek safety in the Almighty. Peace is only maintained and won by those who have clear eyes and brave minds. Peace is imperiled when we forget to try for agreements and settlements and treaties, when we forget to hold our hearts, our hands, and strive, when we forget that God gave us talents to use in securing the ends He desires. Peace fails when we forget that agreements, once made, cannot be broken without a price. Each new day carries within it the potential for breakthroughs, for progress. Each new day bursts with possibilities. And so, hope is realistic and despair is pointless little sin. As peace fails when we forget to pray to the source of all peace and life and happiness. I think sometimes of General Matthew Ridgway, who, the night before D-Day, tossed sleepless on his cot and talked to the Lord and listened for the promise that God made to Joshua. I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. We are surrounded today by the dead of our wars. We owe them a debt we can never repay. All we can do is remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us. All we can do is try to see that our young men never have to join them. Today, as never before, we must pledge to remember the things that will continue the peace. Today, as never before, we must pray for God's help in broadening and deepening the peace we enjoy. Let us pray for freedom and justice and a more stable world. And let us make a compact today with the dead, a promise in the words of which General Ridgway listened. I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. In memory of those who gave the last full measure of devotion, may our efforts to achieve lasting peace gain strength. And through whatever coincidence or accident of timing, I tell you that a week from now, when I am thousands of miles away, believe me, the memory and the importance of this day will be in the forefront of my mind and in my heart. Thank you. God bless you all, and God bless America. Again, I want to thank students and faculty for giving me this opportunity. I hope you can feel the meaning of President Reagan's words, and I hope you can remember them and what Veterans Day truly means each and every year. Thank you.
Veterans Day is very special to me because I like to support them in what they do for our country. They do a very good job serving and protecting us across the countries and states. I would like to thank those who have died and those who are still living. I wonder what it'd be like if I joined the Army or Navy. I think that would be awesome. The people who have served are very strong and brave. Thank you. By Tess Pitzer.
What Veterans Day means to me. My name is Elise Sims, and Veterans Day is very important to me and my family. One of the reasons is because most of the men in my family were or are in the military. My brother is currently deployed. He left May 28th and will most likely come back in May sometime next year. In my opinion, Veterans Day is something that we should all recognize because people risk their lives to fight for us and our country. Therefore, we should take it seriously. There are about 17.4 million veterans in the U.S. that served for our country, and we should respect and honor all of them. Some people have family members who have died fighting for us and our rights. Veterans Day is also a time to honor the people who died. From 1775 to 2020, about 1,325,679 people have died from the wars. In conclusion, I'm super glad that there are people out there who want to fight for us and our country.
What Veterans Day means to me. To me, Veterans Day is a day to celebrate what the veterans have done for us and our country. I respect them, and I am so glad that so many people want to serve our country. I love celebrating Veterans Day because it is a special day to me and a bunch of other people. Although there might not be a parade this year, I hope that we can still honor them in some way. It means so much to me that there's a special day to celebrate them. Veterans Day is a federal holiday in the U.S. It is usually celebrated November 11th. About 300,000 U.S. veterans from World War II are still alive in 2020. Veterans Day used to be called Armistice Day and was established November 11th, 1919. Armistice Day was changed to Veterans Day in 1954. President Eisenhower signed the legislation. The holiday became a day to honor all veterans. Sincerely, Haley Mitchell.
What Veterans Day means to me is flags in remembrance of people who served in the war that could have died. These soldiers may have fought through wars where a lot of them got injured or severely hurt. Some war veterans may have suffered from PTSD, which means post-traumatic stress disorder, and this affects the way they think and behave. We honor them by doing a program once every year on November 11th. On November 11th, 1918, World War I ended, and an armistice was signed by the leaders of their countries. The United States celebrated Armistice Day a year later in 1954. President Dwight Eisenhower changed Armistice Day to Veterans Day to celebrate all veterans. A veteran is a member of an armed force, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. To be in the U.S. military veterans, you need to serve in active service for at least 180 days or 6 months. You'll need to serve for 20 years to retire. They deserve a day because they risk their lives while they serve in the armed forces. My uncles were in the armed force, Army and Navy, and my great-grandpa on my mom's side was in the Navy. Their names are on the Wauzeka Veterans Memorial. On my dad's side, my great-grandpa and my great-uncle were in the Navy. They are who I think of on Veterans Day.
Real Heroes by Roger Robicheaux. Real heroes wear our uniform. You'll see no numbers, that's the norm. They do not strive to get rich quick. Their mission firm, oh how they click. To serve us faithful is their cause. Determined minds, they'll never pause. Sincere they love our country true. Sleep well, my friends, they serve for you. We sometimes see them on our shore, while others brave a foreign tour. So trained and drilled to do it all, in time of need they'll meet each call. They make a total treasured sight, no finer known, a mom's delight. God hold them safe and keep them well, till soldiers return home to dwell.
What Veterans Day means to me. We all have learned from a young age that Veterans Day is a day when we celebrate those who have served in the military. However, I never really fully understand what veterans had gone through until I was older, because when I was young, I never really heard of any veteran stories. But by the time I was older, my parents told me the stories of my brave veteran ancestors. One such story was about my great-grandpa. During World War II, he served as an Army Ranger. His duty was to parachute out of a plane at night in German territory, scope out where the enemy was, and then walk back to his base and report back to his superiors. The night of his last mission was foggy. His immediate superior was going to call off the jump, but he was overridden by the next in command. My great-grandpa completed the jump, found the enemy, and was walking back to his base when the Germans found him. He would not surrender and ran into a culvert when the Germans threw a grenade at him, leaving him for the dead. He was found and spent a lot of time recovering. I always had a lot of respect for veterans, but this story really opened my eyes to what they have done for us in our country. Veterans Day to me is a time where we can set aside our lives and really focus on what veterans did for us. I think everyone should thank a veteran for risking their lives to fight for our country. We should honor and appreciate all that veterans do, because without them, we wouldn't have the freedoms we have today. We think that we have challenging days, but ours are nothing compared to what veterans had to face every day in war. We can proudly call this place our home because veterans had the selflessness to put themselves in danger to save the lives of other people. So next time you see a veteran, make sure to thank them and give them the credit they very much deserve. Thank you for your service, veterans.
What does Veterans Day mean to you? A true hero isn't measured by the size of his or her strength, but by the strength of his or her heart. We symbolically can't amount to the things they have seen in war, but to acknowledge them for the jobs they have done. Without them, we would not be able to stand together as the united people we are, and justifying them in their own knowledge, we could say they deserve the most respect. I think we can all agree they have strength in many ways, but the ability to get out there and fight for the people they care about is their true strength. That strength comes from something none other than the heart. The definition of a veteran is a person who has served in the military, but it's much more than that. A veteran to me is a courageous person ready to risk it all for the greater good of their country. A person who will proudly walk into the battleground and fight for what they believe in. Having all this in mind, I believe Veterans Day shouldn't be about loss, but about honoring all the things they have done for us. To understand the hardships they face every day in life, whether it be out in battle or back at home, and to acknowledge all their sacrifices. I would like to take my final words to thank all the veterans, living and deceased, for their bravery that led us to a free country, and I, along with others, are so grateful for all you have done for this nation.
Fall In by Amos Russell Wells. Who shall march with the veteran band, these who saved a united land? These are heroes, humble and grand, who shall march with the soldiers? You the boys who will soon be men, soldier duties will yours be then. Fighting wrong in its darkest den, fall in and march with the soldiers. You the mothers of days to be, you in whose hand is the future's key. You will train the brave and free, fall in and march with the soldiers. You, the makers of worthy laws, bold to lead in a righteous cause, deaf to falsehood and vain in applause, fall in and march with the soldiers. You, the workers whose steady toil wrenches wealth from the mine and soil, victors who gather a bloodless spoil, fall in and march with the soldiers. You, all teachers of truth and right, you, all preachers of love and right, all who are fighting the people's fight, fall in and march with the soldiers.
In Flanders Field by Major John M. McCrae. In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
As we wrap up this Veterans Day dedication, the Wauzeka-Steuben student body, staff, and community would like to thank all veterans and their families. Whether it be coloring pictures, reciting poems, constructing a short paragraph on what this special day means to you, writing thank you cards to veterans, or saying the Pledge of Allegiance each morning to start the day, veterans are appreciated and never forgotten. We are all in this together. Thank you.
Happy Veterans Day! Thank you, veterans! Happy Veterans Day!
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner